Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the Spearhead dev server and we're having a look at the new airplanes that are coming in the next major update. There's actually a bunch of really cool ones this time, not just jets. There's also one that I've been looking forward to for a long time coming in for the Dutchy boys. So what we're going to do in this video is basically have a look at all of the new airplanes and see what's kind of going on with them. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Let's get started. The first vehicle we're having a look at is the F-15C Golden Eagle. This is coming in for America. I thought it was going to be a premium just because of the name, but it turns out no, it's actually a standard TechTree vehicle, which is pretty cool. So you can see it's right here. It's straight after the F-15C MSIP. This is the fourth F-15 that is being added to the American TechTree. And the big difference between this and the other F-15s is this gets access to an AESA radar. Basically, you can see here, this is the AN/APG-63V3. If you compare it to, let's say, the F-15, which is right here, you can basically see the standard difference between them, and that really is it. Like, it technically has like some extra fuel tanks and all of that stuff, but this is the F-15E one with the AN/APG-70 with the TWS Plus, and then with the F-15C with the AN/APG-63V3, you can see it has the TWS ESA, so giving it access to 8 data link targets and also fun NCTR. So the other thing, as I said, it has the fuel tanks too. So you can see the kind of fat tanks that this vehicle has all along the way. So you can bring the conformals and then also the AIM-120s on top of the other fuel tanks. But that's really about it. In terms of like weaponry, in terms of like maneuverability, mobility, it's basically the same. You have the AIM-120 C5s, which exist. You have the AIM-7Ms if you want to use them. You have the AIM-9Ms, of course, and then you have all of the different ground ordnances that all of the F-15s have. So including the JDAM ERs, the extended range ones, which are the glide bombs, you have the paveways, and then also you have the sniper targeting pod, which is incredibly good too. So yeah, the vehicle generally is very similar to the other F-15s, the major difference being that radar, which, you know, let's not say, or let's say it is quite a large upgrade. It isn't just something to forget about, but everything else basically stays the same, and that is the main part of it. The next vehicle we're going to be having a look at is for Russia. And this is another high-tier jet that is coming in. We have the Su-30MK2 AMV. And what's kind of cool about this one is it's actually from Venezuela. Venezuela got this imported from Russia. The MK2 AMV is an exported variant of the Su-30 series, and it's more of kind of like a navalized or maritime variant is probably the best way of putting it, and that means that it excels in that area. So it's at 13.3, it's at the highest rank in the game, so rank 8, and this means that the vehicle itself will be able to fully research the tech tree at 100% efficiency as you go around. You'll also be in the top BR bracket technically, since the top BR is 14.3 now, and this is at 13.3. So why is this thing at 13.3? Well, first of all, it has the Saturn AL31FP engines, which obviously give it a lot of thrust. It has the N001 radar, which gives it access to the TWS, but doesn't give it access to many DL targets, which is quite a large deal, and also doesn't give it any other abilities. And then we have the weaponry. Now, the weaponry is kind of the interesting area. I always find it funny with premiums, where what they do is they just kind of still have in the old system, where people can click like the full things they want instead of creating secondary setups, just because, you know, people might not be able to do it. But you can see here that when it comes to the missiles, at least the air-to-air point, it has the exported R-77s, which are the RVVAEs, and then also it gets access to the R-73Es, which are, of course, the exported versions of the R-73s. So it does get the IRCCM IR missiles. It does get access to the R-27R1s, but mainly the R-77s, the active radar homing missiles, which I'm sure most people will use. You can bring 6 of them, which isn't as much as some other nations nowadays, but also around the BR, it's pretty good. Now, since this is a naval platform or a maritime platform, you can have a look also at some of its other factors. This is not set up like the Su-34, so it doesn't get access to the KH-38MTs or MLs or anything like that. It does get the 29 MLs and the 29 TDs, which are also both very good, just not as powerful as the 38s. And then it gets these funny things. So what you have is these KH-59MEs. Now, these are TV-guided missiles, TV IOG GNSS. So if you're able to get a TV lock, then it will be able to track the target from a long way away. And then the GNSS will basically mean that it will, even if it loses track of the target, it will still go to the point where you had, targeted the target last. And also at the same time, it can travel absolutely miles. The problem with the KH-59ME is the same issue that a lot of these types of things have. Even though it has a really long launch range, actually being able to target something is the problem. So you could probably dumbfire it quite easily at an area of the map, but actually getting it to lock onto a target from the range that you can fire these at is going to be pretty hard to do, especially since you're relying on internal optics instead of a really good targeting pod like other nations kind of have. You are relying on the targeting of the KH-59 itself. So yeah, it is a long-range missile, but it's more designed to go after much larger targets than you may be used to, such as stuff like ships. So in ground forces, I know these things look scary. I know they look like they're going to be really good, but don't worry about them as much, okay? Because they're going to be nowhere near as scary as, in my opinion, something like the KH-29s, especially since you can carry 6 of these. And if you want to have a look at the optics suite that this vehicle has, you can see the RWR here and not the optics, so my bad. I kind of screwed that one up. But yeah, we'll have a look at it later on. So the other thing I did also want to mention right now is, for some reason, in the files, there is a unique version of the Yak-1, which is the Litviak Yak-1. It basically is Lydia Litviak's Yak-1, and it actually has her pilot model in it too, which I think is actually really cool. So check that out. If it actually makes it into the game, this update, maybe it will, maybe it won't, who knows at the end of the day. But whatever happens, it'll be nice to see it at some point. The next vehicle we're having a look at is the Hawk 2. This is a British aircraft that is going to be coming into the British tech tree. Technically, it's an export aircraft, so it could have actually come in a bunch of different tech trees, but at least at this moment in time, it is only in the British tech tree. And what you find is a vehicle at rank 7. It's going to be between the Jaguar GR1A and also the Harrier GR7. Now, this vehicle does not have an afterburner engine. What it has is actually the Rolls-Royce Spey 807, which has pretty decent takeoff thrust, but nowhere near the competition that you will find at 10.7. It's going to be a lot slower than the competition, and it's going to be much more like a lot of strike aircraft that you see around the place. So it's going to be more maneuverable, it's going to have very good weaponry, but flight performance won't actually be that good. So if you are in the offensive, it should be all right, but if you ever have to be defensive, you're just going to die. The vehicle does have some nice factors, though. You have access to the Aiden Mark IVs, so you have two 30mm right here. You also have access to countermeasures, 60 of them in total, which is quite nice for the BR. And when it comes to the pylons, you technically have 5 points where you can hold stuff, but mainly you're going to use these 4 here. There's a central one where you can hold bombs, but mainly the real kind of meat and to veg is going to be these hard points on the wings. So what you can do is you can bring 4 AIM-9Ls if you want. These are the all-aspect IR-guided missiles for America. They are very good, great range, and generally quite nice. Obviously, around this BR, there's a lot of people who carry flares, but at least this gives you a secondary attack vector that you can use. You also have a bunch of dumb bombs as well. You have some rockets in the forms of the multi-darts, and then also the ECCs and the SNEBs. But the main ground ordnance attack thing you have is, of course, the Mavericks. Britain, around these BRs, does not have a Maverick thrower. You have a lot of guided bomb throwers, like the Jaguar, for example, which shares this BR. This one actually has access to the Mark 13s, which are really fun to use with the tealed pod, which is right here. But you don't really have anything that chucks Mavericks. And if you have a look at other tech trees, especially like America, they have a lot of vehicles that chuck Mavericks, and these are really powerful at these BRs because you can outrange a lot of the AAs that you fight against. And now, with this Hawk 200, the British tech tree will be able to do this too. So you'll be able to bring the Mavericks in ground, you'll be able to bring the AIM-9Ls in air, and generally you'll be able to have a good time. And for me personally, I think that's actually really awesome that they're bringing this in for that. So cool that it's also not a premium, and it just joins the big laundry list of strike aircraft that they've added over the last period of time. Talking about strike aircraft, the J87 here, so I need to make a disclaimer. I don't think this is actually available on the dev server. So it's on my account, but you can see that it's not finished. Okay, so the hard points are not attached. The actual camo doesn't look right. There is a few kind of weird bits where it just doesn't line up with the model. And also, you can find it here at rank 8 as a premium. It's basically the more standard version of the JH7A. The JH7A is the big upgrade of the JH7. And yeah, they're at the same BR. But right now, I just don't think this thing's finished. So all of these that you see, like, I don't think the JH7 is supposed to have this radar. I think it's supposed to have a weaker one. And then also, if you have a look at like its secondaries, the PL8s, the PL5Cs, and then also all of the guided bombs, the standard bombs, and then also the rockets, all look very similar to its brother. So just take it with a pinch of salt, but understand that this is in the files. It might be available in this update, but we haven't seen anything about it when it comes to the update news. The next vehicle is another strike aircraft, and well, strike aircraft, trainer aircraft, coin, whatever you want to class it as. This is the MB326K. This is an export version of the good old Aeromachi MB326, and it's one which is more designed instead of around the trainer role, which is what this vehicle was supposed to kind of be. What it is actually a strike aircraft version. So you don't have to worry about training people in it, just annihilating people. This vehicle also is a bit weird. So on the dev server earlier, this was a premium vehicle. Now, on the dev server, it's a standard tech tree vehicle. So I don't know what's going on. On the dev stream, as I said, premium, standard dev server, it's in the tech tree. So we'll see what's going on with it. My guess would be it's going to be a premium, but right now, at least, it's in the tech tree. So that's what we're going to go for. The 326 is kind of fun in terms of its armament. It does have two internal 30mm defers, and then also you can actually get these massive gun pods on the side, which are also defers. So you can have over 500 rounds of 30mm, which is really, really good. The other thing that you can also get is a bunch of miniguns if you really feel like it and don't like being competitive. You also have a bunch of rockets, which I think is more what people are going to run just because of the simple fact that this is going to be mainly used in ground forces. And then also you have 500 pounders, which are there, plus incendiaries and also 250s as well. So there's a lot of different armaments, but they're all around kind of like the dumb idea, like dumb rockets, dumb bombs, and you don't have access to any CCIPs. So you're going to have to get good at kind of firing these things and hitting targets, which isn't impossible. You know, it's something that can be done. It's just something that has to be noted while playing these types of vehicles. I think this will actually be quite fun. I hope it stays as a tech tree vehicle, but we'll see as it goes forward. Now, my pick of the update when it comes to airplanes, we have the Fokker D.XXIII. This is a push-pull setup, as you can see. We actually have a few other vehicles like this in the French tech tree. This vehicle is Dutch, so it's in kind of like the Benelux line. But you have stuff like the Farman, right, which kind of has a similar setup in terms of these engines. Like, you can't see it because of the bombs, but you have one engine here, one engine here, and it just looks really cool. The Fokker D.XXII has the same idea. So you have the Volta Sagitta SR in the front, and then one in the back. You have a big fuel dump in the middle, and then you have everything else going forward. So this vehicle has two 13.2mm cans. It also has two 7.92mm FN Brownings. And one of the things to note that Oxy talked about on the stream was the fact that these 13.2 should actually be here, kind of in the wing roots, and then the 7.9 should be here. So the guns are the wrong way round at the moment, and we'll see if that changes. The fact is, the vehicle itself should be pretty fun. It's going to be a bit heavy. The actual engines themselves are not very powerful, but generally it should at least be just enjoyable to kind of fly around the place. And at least for me, it's just really nice to see more Dutch aircraft, because they do have a bunch of weird and wacky designs all over the place. And I think overall, that is actually quite cool. Unfortunately, the cockpit isn't in yet, but if the other Fokker is anything to go by, I'm sure it'll be added in. And you can see the general turn circle of this thing is a little bit rough, but the firepower will definitely make up for it. So it's just really cool to see another Dutch design and another Dutch vehicle, because they really did kind of go out their way to make some really fun stuff. Just to kind of show you where it is in the tech tree again, it's between the Firefly and the Fokker G1 if you want to get access to it. But yeah, this one is just looking awesome. The last vehicle is for Israel. This is the MD450B 29. You will find it here in the tech tree. It is a premium at rank 5, and it is a complete copy of the standard Oregon, apart from it has access to some teeth. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.